A child is a beam of sunlight from the infinite and eternal, with possibilities of virtue and vice,
Mm.
but as yet not unstained. And that's by Lyman Abbott. And the reason I read that quote is that my guest and I share the same absolute heart and passion for children
Yeah.
in front of our cameras. And she's somebody I've known and loved for a long, long time. And I'm so excited to have Valerie Taber Smith on my show. So be sure to go to lucydumascoaching.com if you want to book a 20-minute chat about whatever I can support you in. And of course, this is on all the YouTubes and all the podcast channels. So uh, watch and listen wherever and share with your friends. All right. So let me tell you a little about Valerie. She is an international art brand specialist. Her work is timeless and it's mostly of sweet images of babies and little ones. She's one of the most published children's photographers in the world. She has had her work displayed at EPCOT. She's won a trophy from Kodak. Uh, she's had a long, long career, starting out with weddings and then specializing in babies and children. And one of the reasons I wanted to share Valerie with y'all is because her work has been published. Uh, I think the second most published children's photographer in the world. And so we want to find out more about that. I'm sure you would agree. And without further ado, hi, Valerie. Welcome.
Hi, Lucy. It's so
Hi.
lovely to be here. I'm
Yeah,
very excited.
me too. We met at a conference from the wonderful Jesh de Rocks.
Hmm.
And there was something, we were standing in line waiting to go to something, and it was like that magic, we're soulmates, right?
It kind of felt that
You know
way.
that? Yeah. And so I'm excited that whatever this is, 15 years later or so, we get to have some quality time together here and in the future. So, Valerie, tell me a little about how you got your start. I know you said you started weddings in the 70s, but how did you decide photography was something you wanted to pursue, or how did you fall in love with photography?
Well, it's actually kind of a funny story because, excuse me, it was the last thing on my mind. I was a psychology major in college,
Mm.
and I met this man, this guy. I thought he was pretty cute. Anyway, still married to him now.
Oh,
But
good.
you know how when you're first like dating, and he loved photography, and so I pretended to be interested, and he let me use his camera a lot. And I think we went on a trip together one time up to um, Hearst Castle, and I took a picture of this little girl with a lamb in the middle of a little garden. I remember getting that picture back, thinking, "Oh, you know." And then he also had a darkroom, so the first time I developed picture, it was like, "Oh my God, um, I have to do this." So I dropped out of college. You know, I just got a regular job, and I said, "I have to do this." I don't know where it came from inside me.
Hmm.
Willing to do pretty much everything that was legal photographically. I just wanted to take pictures.
I love that.
So I talked my way into a job with a studio back in the late 70s. I had applied as a wedding photographer, hadn't didn't have any experience. But the guy goes, "Look, I know you really love this. If you want to hang out here sometimes, come on over, and you know, you can hang out and talk to staff or whatever." So what he didn't realize was that I was going to show up every day. Showed up every day, and they hit a little bump with their income. So I was the only person who knew how to talk to customers, take pictures, do backroom work, make telephone calls, because I'd learned how to do that while I was just hanging out. So he hired me when he had to let the other people go.
I love it. Uh,
I got on the
okay.
job training. So
Yeah, I love
in
that. So,
it,
two
it,
things. two things I want to interject.
Yes.
It's funny because my although I'd always had a good point and shoot, and I loved, you know, I loved having a camera, but I never could get what I wanted out of it. And then I was with a guy
Really?
who had just purchased a Canon AE1, and together we figured out how to load the film. And the first image I took, it was of a flower in shade, and it was beautiful. And it was that same like, ah, kind of, I need to get a camera. I'm working, I can afford it now. And then I learned how to do darkroom work, and I I hired on to a few studios that needed help. So we have a similar little path.
That's very similar.
And what I like that I'd like people to pay attention to is that maybe we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Maybe we could find somebody that has a working wheel and
Mhm.
either mentor with them,
Yes.
volunteer with them, um, helping photographers at weddings for free is an amazing,
Hmm.
amazing education. And of course, we want to find somebody that doesn't think we're competition, that knows that the more we share, the more there is for everybody.
Oh,
So,
I agree. I agree so much. And I think especially the the monthly meetings I used to go to at the PPOC and all those, that was such a theme. I mean, you could call anyone pretty much, except maybe Philip Stewart Chars wouldn't pick up your call. Just about everybody else
yes,
would answer questions. And I love that about our industry. So
yes. So, guess who did my high school yearbook?
who? Dunlap Turney?
Cheris.
Charis? Oh, he's amazing photographer.
Yes. So before he's and anyway, I've talked about this on the show before.
Oh, I
He
can remember
out
him.
of the blue created this style of doing beautiful high-end portraits like the paintings that I think he saw at the Huntington Library when he was
Hmm.
there photographing cheerleaders and high school bands for the yearbooks. I have this picture of
Oh,
him wandering through Huntington Library and seeing the Gainsboroughs and going, "Ah, I'm going to start a business with that." Anyway, when he wasn't the great Philip Cheris when his company did my yearbook.
oh, that's
Uh,
so interesting.
yeah, but when I was the editor, we didn't have the money for him anymore, so I got this crappy company anyway. So we all start somewhere is
Yes,
the
we do.
moral of that story. I
Yeah,
love that.
I'm
So
glad you told me that.
yeah, so um, one of the things that has always impressed me is that your beautiful photography of children, and you have to go to her website and see those precious, precious images uh, that you found a way to sell them as art pieces, as commercial um, goods, commercial imagery, which there's so much more potential for income, hopefully still, when you do a great photograph and then it can be sold over and over and over again.
Licensed, yes.
Yes, like as opposed to, and there's nothing wrong with what I've done in my career, which is
Oh,
get the income from the families. But anyway, so how did you tell me about that world?
well, it's so interesting. Um, it really kind of happened by accident,
If
but
we
not.
believe if we believe in accidents.
Um, but I didn't really have. I mean, I photographed babies and children at that studio, and I did love the 6 to 10 month olds were my favorites.
Mhm,
But I wanted to be a real photographer, and I didn't think baby photography was a thing, right? I,
mhm.
since I was 4 years old, I wanted to have a career, but I just and it's funny because but I pivoted after I had a child, which was quite a ways into our marriage, but we had a baby, and then that was it. It was like, that's what I want to focus on. And I've done other kinds of photography as well. But um, I remember one year, I think it was in the 90s sometime, and I said, I think it would be really fun to have a greeting card. So I was taking some black and white hand tinted pictures at the time. Um, that was a popular thing. Um, and I thought, well, if I could have one by the end of the year, and this was my January first goal.
Hmm.
And so by the end of the year, I had 9. And I thought that was really cool. But there was this other photographer out there doing a lot of those black and white images. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to do something different. And I started doing, in the early computer days, some magical images. Somebody I'd done a wedding with, actually, he was amazing with the computer, and we teamed up. And those images got to be a greeting card, got discovered by a calendar company. Calendar company went to the licensing show. International art licensing agent saw them, and then they called me and they took me to the national art licensing show in New York. This happened within like a year,
Wow.
and the next thing you know, I have licensing agents around the world, and I loved the work, but that whole part of the business was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But I loved it. The thing is that art licensing has changed a lot. Back when I was really popular, um, Instagram wasn't around, Pinterest wasn't around. So as people would just buy things just for the pictures frequently. I mean, I used to do that. I'd buy greeting cards of pretty pictures. I've still got boxes of them
Hmm.
because that's the way I could hold on to that little bit of art.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that that the I think that there's always room. Like, that art licensing world has changed. It's not as big as it used to be. But I also feel like there are people out there, if you have a passion, maybe it's pets especially, I think are. There was a wonderful pet photographer. She's still out there. Her name is Rachel Hale. But she used to do um, animals, dogs, cats, with a 4x5 view camera, and they
Hmm.
were amazing and stunning. She was quite the artist. Um, but but I think there's room for the next generation of photographers to do something, regardless of what your passion to photograph is. I
Hmm.
think you can start out with some greeting cards, calendars, things like that. It, it if somebody's out there listening, you can always email me. I'm happy to give tips. Um,
Love that. So I have some questions. So page back just a little bit.
yes.
And I love that. I think that's a key thing when people look at how things are today and they're like, yeah, but in your day there was this or that. There's always opportunity.
There
I
is.
love you saying that. And it may not be the exact thing. Like some of us thought that stock photography was going to be our retirement income when you used to be able to get paid well for stock.
Hmm.
And iStock came along, and then, I don't know now, but as things change, new things open up and other things close down. So I want to page back to um, you said you wanted a greeting card. So did you make them and then you went and were selling them
No,
at,
I just sent some high quality color Xeroxes of some of the images, and to a few companies, uh,
ah, so
and then I heard back. So
so you took your work, you sent it to places that publish cards and calendars.
mhm.
So you made that effort. It wasn't like you just were like, oh, I'm going to make some
I
cards
was
and I'm going to put them in a little gift shop around the corner. You
no, I didn't do
pursued
that,
it.
but that's not a bad idea. And there are people out there that do that. I was so nervous, so I did something in my early days. I already had a very successful wedding photography business.
Mm,
So had plenty of income from that. Um, and this was a little side thing I was doing, but I was scared to put my work out there.
Hmm.
And so I did something. I told myself that I was going to collect every rejection letter I ever got. And I made a
Aw.
folder and I was going to save them. And when I was famous, I was going to bring them out and look at them. Well, that got me through sending pictures out, you know.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I do still have that folder today. It wasn't as big as I thought it might get, but
Oh, which is good. So it's like
but
those
it helped
steps.
my head, you know,
Right.
my head be able to take that step.
Right. So it's like how they say um, it might take 10 no's to get one yes. And
Yeah,
that one way to handle the no's is to celebrate. Okay, that's two, that's
I like that.
three, that's four. So instead, you took a physical action of the same thing and made it like a badge of honor because, I've never gotten a letter of rejection for my photography work because I never put it out there. So you've got all this evidence of the effort that you made. I think that's what I really admire about what you managed to accomplish is that you kept going for it. You had a vision of what you wanted. You wanted your work uh, out there in the world as cards, as art, as, however it could unfold. And you did the work. I think that's what some people, they get discouraged early. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and there've been plenty of those as well. But I think for me that I have a passion for the beauty I see in the world.
Mm.
Now there's plenty of the other things that distract me too.
Hmm.
But as long as I can remember, I loved like looking at light, what light does to things.
Hmm.
Um, and I love people and beauty. And at one point, um, before we had children, I was doing weddings for a long time, but on this, I always had something on the side, whatever I was doing.
Yeah.
I've never been somebody who could focus on just one thing. So I always had a second thing on the side.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you remember Shirley McKenzie, but she started art in hospitals and corporations and things like
Mm.
that.
Okay.
And it wasn't everywhere like it is now. Um, so my husband and I, we would go around with view cameras and photograph waterfalls and everything because that's where I saw beauty in the world.
Hmm.
And I put it like the Flora Corporation, they bought a lot of my work and um, hospitals and things like that. And then, but that naturally pivoted. I think when I was 3 months pregnant, I went down to the bottom of the Havasupai Falls at the bottom of the Grand Canyon because I was determined via horseback to photograph those waterfalls before I had a baby. So,
Mm.
but then when I had the baby, I pivoted again. So,
So you pivoted to the
but
children.
it's about because I feel like when I look in the eyes of a baby, I'm seeing the true beauty of the human spirit.
Yes.
And that's what I'm always trying to capture. And I don't know if this is a place for it or not, but when our son was born, I did have one of those white light things, and
Hmm.
I got a clear message that you need to do this. I didn't know what it was. I just knew I was supposed to photograph what I was seeing in their eyes, and um, and it just how many a baby's expression can change the face of like even the most hardened person,
Hmm.
you know? And there's a reason for that. And I think humans are beautiful. I love families. I love nature. And so those are the things I've turned my camera towards. Um, so if you have a passion like that, and probably anybody listening probably does,
Right.
because that's why we pick up cameras, right?
Mm.
That's why we're inspired to pick up a camera at a certain moment. Um, that yeah, maybe the world needs to see more of your work too, or more, maybe your work is meant for those specific people you're photographing. But if there's something in you that goes, I think I'm supposed to get my work out there on a wider basis, um, feel free to send me an email. I love hearing from people.
Love that. I love
And
that. Yeah, I
so,
was sharing uh, before we recorded. I think this was before. So I live on a corner and I have an older home and a really nice porch. And I sit on the porch uh, when the weather's good with my computer and my coffee. Later in the day, I'll read a book on my iPad, and babies and children are getting walked frequently. And even though I don't get to photograph those kids, or I don't choose to, because I could probably volunteer to photograph all the kids in the neighborhood, but just the joy of seeing those babies, making them smile. I've become more of a dog magnet than I thought I would be because they see me and some of them just like drag their owner up to the
oh,
porch so they can get a
I love that. I
and
love it.
it's what you shared about that thing about babies and children that is it's moving to me and I know it is for you too.
Yeah.
And what I love about your work and what I loved, I don't know, was Ann Geddes before or after
We,
you started putting around the same time?
I think I had work out before her, but when pivoted to the color work from black and white, um, I actually I had this set of images like clutched to my chest that I had done with the little, um, the little angel type of images.
Right?
And I went around the
You show
corner.
that again and hold it for a sec so it can focus. Okay, good.
So I had a collection of those images kind of in an envelope clutched to my chest, going to the greeting card company that I most wanted to be published with. Um, and I remember coming around the corner and they had a huge display featuring Ann Geddes. So we kind of came on at the same time, but my work was published here, but mostly my biggest market was Europe.
Mm,
For some reason, like here, these images did well. Um, in Europe, they loved the baby faces like this.
yeah. So
Um,
if you're
they
listening,
made like this is a catalog and
hold
it's
on, Val.
hundreds
Hold
of
on, Valerie. If you're listening, it's a little baby face with a little ruffly cotton cap, right? With the
right.
show it again so I can describe it.
Oh,
The baby, just a yummy little baby that you want to chew on those cheeks with her finger in her mouth and a little ruffly baby cap that, oh my gosh, I would have bought that and just put it on my desk just to
and
enjoy
they made look suitcases out of it. Little girls
it.
back to school.
Yeah, I
I
love it. I love it.
they made thousands of products, but a lot of it was because like like because we helped with the product design.
Oh,
We
nice.
with the but you don't have to do that. See,
Right,
like this pattern right here, how pretty that is. We had a whole collection of patterns that were unique to my brand and that complemented the coloring of the images.
right,
And so, but that's a little more advanced. And I don't think anybody needs to do that. It's just
right.
that that's kind of where I ended up taking it because I had a really good licensing agent that guided me that way. But
Nice. So what I love, and it doesn't surprise me that you popped into the world about the same time as Anne, because I think there's times when an idea is ready
it's
to blossom
right.
and it's not her work, it's not your work, it's something about the world, about the sensibilities. What I loved, first time I saw a card of hers, I think I was in Aaron Brothers, it was a chain And it just stopped me in my tracks
Oh,
because I love
amazing.
babies. And there didn't used to be art of babies that people would want posters of and books of. But when people like you and her and others and me, mine was more personal, but and that's about the time women started getting more into this industry,
Yeah,
FYI, for listeners,
right.
that we started celebrating the beauty of children and, and and saw them as art and as you know angels, and not just angels photographically, but um, it's people shifted at that point, that there was a big mental global shift into just focusing on I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but the opposite of children are to be seen and not heard, that almost the world opened up to celebrate children
Oh,
in my perspective. And I do love that there are newborn photographers that never would be doing what they do if Anne hadn't
yeah.
done her newborn series and what I call the baby burritos, where wrap
I,
them.
yeah.
So anyway, I love that you were part of this early movement that then um, helped a lot of people, particularly probably young moms, to start building careers with photographing children. That you were a pioneer in that world, and I love that. It it's not just about the individual with a photograph of their kid, but that there's high value in honoring whatever, just like dogs now are super popular as art and as specialties. I don't know if I'm just babbling. Is that making any sense to
Oh
you,
my,
Valerie?
don't you? I feel like I was a messenger,
Yes.
honestly. Um, yeah, and I think a lot of people feel that way, and um, I love that there's so many women photographers now. I remember, especially in my wedding days, it felt so great because when we finally did have a child, my husband was home on the weekends and I did weddings
Hmm.
and I saw people 2 evenings a week. And then he worked during the week. So we never really had to like farm him out, somewhere.
Hmm.
And I think it's challenging, yes, when you have a family and you want to be a photographer, but I think it's a great time for that. There's so many wonderful photographers. I mean, I'm addicted to Instagram, so
Yeah. 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 I, I'm I'm more Facebook, and I'm just gobsmacked by what people are doing, that they just post on Facebook so we can enjoy them. And sometimes I think I should never photograph ever again because this is happening. But, we all have our vision and we're all in our world. I don't know if you saw my Facebook picture of a little squirrel
oh,
yesterday.
yes,
I
yes.
was walking back from my neighbor's house on Sundays. We hang out on their porch across the street, and this squirrel was right in the nook of a tree, just staring at me. And I was like, "Oh, God, I have my phone." And uh, so I'm still like you, seeing the beauty of the world, the perfect light, the way it was posed right in that little nook, its expression. Um, you know, yeah.
It posed for you.
It did. I got three shots before. And
Excuse me.
yeah. So before we wrap up, we've got just a little bit more time. So, what would you say to people that think, okay, I've got a passion for this and I'd like to get it out there in the commercial world? I believe it could sell for, it could be art in buildings, it could be cards and posters, it could be, all kinds of things. So if you were starting and you had something, that you were passionate about that was new, where do you think you'd start? What's your guidance for folks?
Um, well, I think that, it's interesting because the art licensing industry really came about in the 90s and went on through, and it tapered off after 2008 because of a lot of corporate, um, what do you call it, downsizing and
Besides-
everything. But I also feel like the world is waiting for that next person that has a new way to show something.
Mm,
Do you know what I'm saying? Like Anne
absolutely.
Gaddis came along with her way of showing the babies, and I came along with my way of showing them. And um, that fellow that used to photograph the Weimaraners in black and white, I can't
Oh
think of
yeah.
it. But
What Wegman?
yeah,
Yeah.
yes. And so even though it's thought of as a smaller industry, I think that the right people are out there with something new to say,
Hmm.
uh, and could open that whole industry up all over again. That being said, if you just kind of want to try a few pictures, just send them to some greeting card companies. You don't have to mail them anymore. You can, they're all the greeting card companies and calendars. They need new pictures on calendars every single year. So, um, those are the two places I would probably start.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, that's where I started.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a woman in San Diego who does macro photography, and some of her best work is just drops of oil in a cup or a spoon. I don't know. Like it takes her all day to do one, but
I
it's
see that. What's
amazing.
her name?
Monica Royal,
Okay, I'll look it up.
and she got a business going selling large prints to
Mm.
uh, buildings and businesses and things like that. And you just like nobody had seen that kind of work, and she did what it took to get
Yeah,
out there and
yeah.
sell it. So, yeah, and people need imagery everywhere. In fact, I think imagery is more um, needed, more used
Hmm.
than ever before. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes. I
So,
remember thinking that very same thing about 10 years ago. Um, Lori Nordstrom?
very well, yeah.
So I went to see her at my friend Julie Klausmeyer in Kansas. This is about 10 years ago. And I just remember there were so many new photographers out there, it felt like. And I'm thinking, well, I believe that God's going to want us, that people are going to want more pictures.
Mm,
You don't have to talk people into going to get family pictures anymore. That
right.
photography will become more popular and more photographers will be needed. And that's exactly what's happened.
Right, right. More people have Christmas cards with their families on it or their kids on it than they did 20 years ago, 30 years ago, just for example. And there are more photographers, which is good because there people get to have a relationship, they get to
Mhm.
have things more individualized rather than going to like Olin Mills or Sears and doing some things that maybe record your face but not the soul.
Right. Yeah.
So I love that.
I remember them. Um, and just like a parting comment, is
Hmm.
that okay? So I think that even if you're already a photographer or you have a regular job and you want to do photography, that pay attention to your heart, what your passion is, and how you see things, because um, ultimately, that's what just led me to my success. And I had to have I've always had my income, rather in the beginning it was a regular job, and then it became my photography wedding photography that was my staple, but that I was always putting my toe in the next thing that I had a passion for. So just listen to that and, kind of believe in it. And if it's an area that you want more people to see your work, then chances are God wants them to see it too. So,
Mm, I love that. I love that. So usually I ask you that after I ask you, ask you for a parting thought
oh,
after I ask how to reach you, but we've flipped it for change, which is cool. So
oh,
how do people get in touch with you if they want to see your work and
well, you can go on my website. You can still buy, if anybody out there writes checks, you can still get Valerie Taber Smith checks and a few other items online. And you can also email me at valeriesviews1@gmail.com.
okay, hold on. So ValerieTaberSmith.com
Mm-hmm.
is your website,
Yes,
and then Valerie's Views
one.
one at gmail.com, and these will be in the show notes.
And in my Instagram is Valerie's Views Photo.
I'm sorry, Valerie's
Views
Views, Views
Photo. Yeah.
Photo. Okay. Well, it took us a long time
Oh my gosh.
to get this time together,
You
and
made me feel so comfortable.
well, you're good at this, sharing your heart, and that's all it is. Being on a podcast is an opportunity to share your heart and your experience, and it's been amazing.
And I just remember what it was like to be a photographer just starting out too, thinking, I just I just want someone I just want someone to need what I do. And so if I encouraged anyone today, that will make me happy.
I love that. Well, thank you so much,
Thank you, Lucy.
darling Valerie. Well, my dears, here I am back again, and I'm sure that you all just really felt Valerie's heart and were inspired. At least that's my imagining by what she had to share. Uh, I can't particularly wrap up details about things, but what my takeaway is things change, but there's always space for something new. And the first thing she said, and then she shared at the end, is there's always room if you have a passion for something and to listen to your heart. And I loved her journey and how she had something she wanted to do, which was to get greeting cards to accept her work. So I imagine she did some photographs intentionally to appeal to greeting cards. And then she did the work of sending them out. And I love that she made a book of rejections uh, because it's like celebrating that as you keep doing the work, eventually something's going to pop if you keep at it. So that's it for now. And my next episode, oh, no, I don't know what it'll be. So keep tuning in and be sure to go to The Profitable Photographer on YouTube, on all the other places. All right. Love you. Bye.